Today we are in the second day session of Amazon Web Services. Okay, so today we are going to see the major items. So the agenda for today is first we are going to create a Amazon Linux EC2 instance, and then in the instance we are going to install the web server. So this Amazon Linux we are going to install HTTPD web server, and then we will be creating a new Windows EC2 instance, that is Elastic Computing Cloud instance. Then we will see the definition and the advantages of going for Elastic Computing Cloud, and then we will be comparing the difference between the physical computer with the Elastic Computing Cloud instance. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So first we'll see how to install the web server in Amazon Linux. Okay. I'm opening my Chrome machine. AWS console. I already have the login. I'm going to log into my AWS instance. So signing into my console, I'll be providing my root Gmail root user email ID. In the next frame, I will be providing the and then providing my sign-in details. So I can see my EC2 instances by going to this dashboard. So two of my instances are running. I'm just going to shut down those instances. Stop the instance. So now I'm going to launch a new instances. So launch instances. I told like I'm going to select an Amazon Linux instance. Okay, so Amazon Linux instance. There I will be selecting any of the available thing. For example, like these two things I can select. So I'm just selecting this one. So here I'm going to select how many CPU, like how many core CPU and what is that RAM. I'm selecting it here. Then I'm going for in the next tab. I'm going to select where is my data center, because once you create your instance, the instance should be made available through a network so that we can access. So first we need to select where our instance should be present, which location, because this Amazon is geographically distributed worldwide. They have their data centers in different regions. So I have selected the Mumbai region. In that Mumbai region, there are 3 availability zones. Okay, so I am selecting one of the availability zones, because only after selecting the zone only they will be provisioning our system in that area, and then that system will be made available through the network. Okay, so for that reason, like we are actually choosing this one. So next I'm going to select what is my hard disk thing. So hard disk here we refer it as EBS, Elastic Block Storage. By default we will be getting 8 GB storage. So that's the 8 GB storage. And then we will be adding tags. Tags is a unique identifier for a particular instance. I'm going to add like this is for Amazon Linux instance, Linux web server. Any name you can give. This one you have to give as a key and then value. Next, I'm going to configure the security group. So security group, it controls how your instance can be accessed, whether the communication should be based on SSH, that is shell script, or else the communication should based on an HTTP communication. Those kind of things can be configured in the security group. It is more like your firewall. Okay, so it's a set of fire that control the traffic for your instance, like how your instance can be communicated, either from our machine, like from our laptop, you want to access that instance, that one from one Linux to another Linux, we can connect through SSH protocol. From once you deploy the web server inside that instance, this web server will attract the traffic, right? So that traffic we can control through HTTP. So all these things we have to configure it in this firewall rules, which we call in AWS as security group. So I am selecting SSH, and then here anywhere I'm just selecting, then add rule, I'm putting HTTP, then anywhere, because once the web server is up and running, it receives traffic from anywhere in the world. So that's the reason I'm just selecting this anywhere. So and then review and launch. Okay, so I'm just checking whether all my information which I have provided earlier is correct or not. So AMI means Amazon Machine Index, Machine Imaging. So there I'm just checking whether I'm selected Amazon Linux, then instance type. There I will be selecting my CPU, RAM, and then type of storage, EBS, and then in the security group, how it should be communicated, like it's an SSH based, because Linux machine we can communicate through as SSH, and then once the web server is installed, that will receive traffic, right? So for that traffic to access that HTTP server, we need this HTTP type, and then this is the details of the instances. Like I want only one number of instances at this point of time, I can scale up later. That is why we refer it as elastic computing cloud. So based on the need, we can scale up or scale down. And then storage, we have been given a storage which is like those informations are provided here. And then tags, like we are addressing it with this name of Amazon Linux web server. So I just put launch. There I have to give one key. I have to select something like create a new key value pair, RSA. I can give a key value, any some identifier kind. So this acts as a key. Here we refer it as a key pair because it consists of two keys. One is private key that we will be downloading, and then one is public key that it will be there with the AWS. So I am selecting as Amazon web server, Linux, something, any name you can give. So just for identification purpose, I just given this name. So I have downloaded it, then launch the instance. So now the instances is getting launched. Okay, so once this instance is up and running, I will be installing this HTTP web server inside that instance. So for that, first I need to access that instance. Okay, so as that instance is on Linux, a Linux machine can be accessed directly from a Linux OS, but my laptop is not a Linux thing. So my laptop is a Windows platform. So from Windows platform, if I need to access a Linux machine, then I should have something called putty or else a git bash. So I have already installed git bash. So if you don't have git bash in your machine, please install the git bash. Okay, and I am using this key because this acts like a credential to access that instance. Okay, so this one I am just copying it. And having it here. So here I just select git bash here. So here only like I can execute my Linux commands so that I can access my Linux machine. So currently this is executed in my local laptop and I have to connect it to the Amazon's Linux instance, EC2 instance. So for that, first I will go for that I have to select that instance. Okay, and then I will be giving this connect. There I can copy this key and I use that key to log in. So I go for git bash, I paste this key here. Okay, yes, I want to connect. Okay, so the connection is successful. How am I understanding is you can see that earlier I was under my local laptop, but now I am into this IP address. This is the private IP of my server. So you can go for my server, you can select the server details, there you can see the address. So now I am inside this thing. Okay, now I will be installing the HTTPD. So for that, first I will be updating it. So it is saying that I need to be an admin to do that. So for that, I first go for as an admin. So sudo -i, it will take me as an admin. See, from this user, I have become an admin. So using admin only, I can install something. That's the reason I moved from a current user to the admin user. So now I am an admin user. Now I'm going to get the update of the software packages. Yeah, so all packages are up to date. Now I'm going to install HTTPD. So install HTTPD. So HTTPD is installed. Okay, so after this HTTPD is installed, I need to start that service. So service HTTPD, then start. So it is starting that one. Afterwards, I will be getting the status. So I will go there and ask for status. Status is it is running, it is active and then running. So once my web server is on, I can access it through my public address. So I will be copying this address and then I can paste it here. So it's saying right at this page and I'm able to access this instance. Okay, now let's move on to, let's see what are the other details that I am seeing it here. Here you see that instance state, I can see what is the type of the instance, then there is no monitoring going on, that is why no alarm. Where my thing is located, my thing is located in Asia Pacific, that is like Mumbai region. So Asia Pacific South region it is locating. Data center, like here there are 3 ABC data zones are there. I have selected a zone, and then what is the public IP, and then what is that IP address, all those things are available. I can also access it using this way or this way. Both are my public IP because HTTP communication we have already enabled. So that's the reason we are able to see this one. Okay, so that's all. We and other details, if you want, you can just go down one by one, and then you can see other details related to the instance, EC2 instance. Okay, now we are done with that first step. Okay, let's go for the slide. Okay, so first step, we actually move to the admin credential. So we put sudo -i. From the current user, you will be moving to admin user. Then we will be getting the information about all the software packages available for us to install. So that's why this yum update. Then we have to install the HTTPD server, web server. So we install HTTPD, and then we have to start the service. As service HTTPD start, and then we have to get the status. So service HTTPD status. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So that says about creating a Windows EC2 instance. Now we will see how to create a elastic cloud computing Windows OS instance. Okay, now I will be stopping this instance because I don't want this to be switched on. So I select this one, stop instance. Okay, once the instance is stopped, you will not be able to access this one. Anyway, this is okay. That's the reason you are not able to access this instance. Okay, now we are going to create a Windows based instance. Okay, Windows OS instance. So I just launch instance. Okay, here Windows. Okay, so free tier eligible. Okay, so this one I will be selecting this one. So again, like same 1 GB, 1 GB configure all those things. Then I want it to be under a zone. Then add storage. Okay, I'm okay with this. Default 30 GB. Add tags. Add tag. Just give name. Then what is that value? So value is Windows AWS. Windows machine, something we can give, and then configure security group. So here default is remote desktop, because from a Windows machine, if you want to connect to any Windows machine, remote desktop is the option available for us. I'm okay with this one. So from anywhere, and review and launch, then launch. So here I will be either I can create a new key value pair, or else like I can go with the previous. I'm just go with the existing key pair. I acknowledge launch instances. So now I have created the new instance. Okay, this new instance will take some time to start. The reason being, this instances, it has to create at the back end, right? So it will take some time. So in the meantime, we will see what are the details available for this one. So we can see that all those details here, storage 30 GB, all the information, it will be available here. Okay, our instance is started. We have to start this instance. Selected this one, connect. Okay, RDPD client. So here we have to get the password, right? So if you click on the get password, please wait at least 4 minutes after launching before trying to retrieve the auto generated password. That is, it is taking some time for launching. Okay, let's continue it after 4 minutes. Okay, நம்ம இன்ஸ்டன்சஸ் வந்து இப்போ போய் பார்க்கலாம். இது ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகிருக்கும். ஸோ அதனால் நான் வந்து ரெஃப்ரெஷ் பண்ணுறேன். ஓகே, சரி. இப்போ வந்து நம்ம வந்து அந்த இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ்லேருந்து நம்ம எப்படி வந்து நம்ம கனெக்ட் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நான் சொல்ல போகிறேன். கனெக்ட் அப்படி போனோடனே நம்மளுக்கு இங்கே ஆர்டிபி கிளைண்ட்டு. ஸோ இந்த இடத்துல நம்மளுக்கு பாஸ்வேர்ட் நம்ம கேட்குறோம். ஸோ நம்மளுடைய ஏற்கனவே நம்மகிட்ட இருக்கிற அந்த ஃபைல் இருக்கு பாருங்க, AWS. இந்த இதில் தான் நான் வந்து இது பண்ணியிருக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா நான் அந்த ஃபைல் அதை அப்படியே ரீயூஸ் பண்ணிட்டேங்கல்ல. ஸோ அதனால் அந்த இது கொடுத்தோன்னே அது வந்து உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு பாஸ்வேர்டு வந்து ஜென்ரேட் பண்ணி தடுக்கணும். டீக்ரிப்ட் பாஸ்வேர்ட் கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா பாஸ்வேர்டு வந்து ஜென்ரேட் பண்ணி கொடுப்போம். ஸோ இதை வச்சு நம்ம வந்து லாகின் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஓகேங்களா? சரி, இந்த ஃபைல் வச்சு நம்ம கிளிக் பண்ணிவிட்டு அந்த பாஸ்வேர்டு நம்ம டீக்ரிப்ட் பண்ண பாஸ்வேர்டை வந்து வச்சுட்டு நாம் வந்து ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். நம்மளுடைய இன்ஸ்டன்ஸை வந்து இப்படி ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணிக்க முடியும் நம்மளால். ஓகேங்களா? சரி, இப்போ நம்மளுக்கு வந்து இந்த இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் வந்து என்னால் ஆக்சஸ் பண்ண முடியுது. ஓகேங்களா? சரி, இப்போ நம்ம வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட்டு போகலாம். இப்போ விண்டோஸ் இசிசி இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் எலக்ட்ரிக் கிளவுட் கம்ப்யூட் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம கம்ப்யூட் கிளவுட் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் நம்ம கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டோம். நெக்ஸ்ட்டு என்ன எலாஸ்டிக் கம்ப்யூட் கிளவுட் அப்படின்ட்டு நம்ம அதிகமாக யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கிறோம்ல, அதுக்கு என்ன தான் டெஃபினிஷன், லைக் வாட் இஸ் த டெஃபினிஷன் ஃபார் திஸ் எலாஸ்டிக் கிளவுட் கம்ப்யூட் கிளவுட்? Okay, so elastic means something which we can increase or decrease. Okay, that is that elasticity. So here they are referring the computing ability or computing capacity. Okay, because we are having on infrastructure at some point of time, based on the payload or based on the number of people who are accessing that instances, if you want to scale up or scale down the infrastructure to accommodate that additional users, we have that capability to scale up or scale down. So to identify or to address that one, they are giving this word elastic. Compute refers to the computing ability. So it behaves like a computer, right? So that is like they mention it as compute. Cloud in the sense it is available over the network and it is accessible through our laptop. So any computer related resources are which is having the hard disk, the storage, and then the computing ability that is remotely located and is accessible through the over the network through the laptop is referred as ECC, Elastic Compute Cloud. So this is actually on demand. Suppose like today I want something, tomorrow I want a different thing, means that is an on demand. So based on my need, I am getting this infrastructure which is scalable and then reliable. And then while setting up application, you don't have to worry about the infrastructure investment. At some point of time, if you want to increase the capacity, you can do that one. So that is the added advantage. Then suppose we have one instance where we have what is hosted an application. Suppose if you want an additional replica of the same instances, you can replicate that one, like you can have another one instances of the same thing. So and then you can increase the computing capability. So that is the added advantage here. Then based on the demand, traffic, or else customer need, like you can scale up or scale down. So that is this elastic, and then it is available over the network. So that is that cloud. Okay, so we see a sample example. So we have a application which is installed in 3 different production servers, and each server has the capability to handle 5 users. So through load balancing, we are routing our traffic to these application servers. So our current scenario, we can handle maximum of 15 users. Suppose consider your application is something like a e-commerce website like Amazon website or else Flipkart. So they will be doing that big billion days. So in such days, you see a sudden increase in the traffic. So that time you want to scale up your infrastructure to meet the additional load. Okay, so for that you need an additional instances. So by using this AWS thing EC2, that is the elastic computing cloud, we can increase the number of instances. So let's see the comparison between the physical machine and then elastic computing cloud. So here we are having a CPU, like physically we will have a CPU. Here we refer the same CPU as a instance type. So there you will have that RAM and then all those things, right? Here in physical machine we refer it as hard disk, like we have 100 GB, 500 GB, 1 TB hard disk and all. Here in EC elastic computing cloud we refer the same thing as elastic block storage, EBS. In physical machine, so to control the traffic, right, who can, I mean the security thing, like who can access, like what is the protocol, HTTP protocol is allowed or else like SSH is allowed. So those things are kind of a firewall thing. So here in ECC they refer it as security group. So we can configure that RDP or else SSH or else HTTP, which how you want the communication to happen, the traffic to happen. So that one is again configurable in our EC2. Here in normal physical machines, we will have a LAN through which like we can connect our machine to the network. In EC2, we refer it as IP addressing. So we refer like which data center through which network you are going to expose your instance. So that is again controllable. That is again selectable in EC2. So in EC2 we have given a location of Mumbai and then like there we saw 3 different zones. So we have selected the A zone, right? So that is the thing which I am referring it here. So both are having the RAM things. Here in physical machine we will be installing OS. Here in EC2 they refer it as AMI, Amazon Machine Imaging. So thanks for attending this session. And that's all for today's demo. Okay, thanks for attending this session.